with the lion.
The following is an EHC media production.
What's going on, RWT family and Smart Mark Radio listeners? This is your boy, Moses Marquez.
And I'm your boy, Emir Blackbane Costello.
And we are here to remind you guys to catch us each and every week on the Gorilla Position.
Yeah, man, it's our little show we got going on where we talk about all things wrestling. And Moses Marquez, what's your favorite thing to talk about?
My favorite thing to talk about is all the bullshit going on in the WWE, but then I like to sugar on a little bit of the awesomeness of the New Japan Pro Wrestling. What about yourself?
Yeah, man, I like talking about those things too. Not to mention AEW is coming out. Ring of Honor is awesome. And I don't know if anybody likes Impact, but fuck it. If they're making news, we're talking about them too.
We're talking about all this and more, guys. So again, catch us each and every week on soundcloud.com/smartmarkradio, and of course on the RWT YouTube page. Every week, a new episode of the Gorilla Position will be up. So we'll catch you around the bend, boys and girls. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon.
For honest, uncut, and often controversial coverage of all things wrestling, there's one place to get it, with some good old banter thrown in.
Join the Butcher and myself, two-time Knowledge Champion Mike Larkin, along with your host Dazzy Dangerously, every Friday for the Max Wrestling Podcast, with championship specials every 2 to 3 months.
WWE, New Japan, Ring of Honor, and the company with many names and more.
On Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, Podomatic, iTunes, and Stitcher.
We must now bid you adieu, goodbye, mwah, and good night. Bam!
I got my fist in the air, screaming black power.
I feel like Tookie Williams' last hour. We used to stand for something, but most niggas is cowards. Took rows to bars to sit down, so I'm pro-black like the pigs with the fist now. 80s track exists now. All these babies going crazy cause these ladies smoking daily now. So tell me, how you really gonna say the chow when it's still running through our veins as a juvenile? If something's gonna change, you better do it now. Since this makes sense, we gon' start a movement now.
EWA.
Do you play WWE 2K18 on the PS4? Would you like to play against other like-minded players in a very unique online league that's unique because we are more committed to storylines than just a straight-up competitive league? The league is still very competitive, but we also try to run things like a bit of a TV show. Check out the YouTube channel and the Facebook page in the description below if you're interested.
Hey, what's going on, RWT family, Smart Mark Radio listeners, and wrestling fans around the world? Your boy Moses Marquez. And you know what that music means. It means it's the retro show. We're taking it back in time, a little too far in time, but a time that I lived through. So this was reminiscent. We're going back to 1998, and we're watching some ECW. It's going to be ECW Heatwave. And, of course, I'm going to be joined by my co-host shortly, Paul Morales, and, of course, Emir Costello. Really quickly, I want to apologize for my raspy voice. It's cold out here, so bear with me, and we'll be back. We're back. I am joined by, of course, my two esteemed colleagues, Paul Morales and Emir Costello. What's happening, guys?
Moses
What up, man?
Marquez, you better put some respect on my name, homie.
What? That was no. We're not doing this like last week. I was like, this is Emir, Paul. We were like, just whatever. And then fucking this guy and that guy. I said it right this time. Don't give me no shit.
What?
I am
You
the
just
fucking
said Emir
podcast
Costello.
of the year. God damn it.
Who's Emir Costello? My name is Emir Blackbane Costello. And you heard the crowd chanting with me in the background. They know my name.
Oh, geez, here we go again.
You know I'm the only one that doesn't have a gimmick name?
He said, everybody need to know my name and everybody need to respect.
It's because every time Moses comes back from break, he goes like, all right, well, we're back now.
Well, yeah, it's just
Right?
fucking just
It's
we're
like,
back.
it's like we can't even get a proper introduction. I call hard, these guys over here.
You guys would be part of
I
the
don't
intro if
even
you know how
them,
to
but
shut the
they're
hell
just
up.
here. This is my show.
You goddamn right, it's my show. Get the hell out of here.
Oh, man.
Our show. This is just my show, and they're just here.
No, that's not true. Smart Mark's just my show, where I fucking ramble like an asshole.
Smart Mark is a dope brand with a dope logo, and it sits on top of every other podcast, and I got no problem with that.
Neither
Right.
do I. So let's get into this actual show before we continue to ramble about some bullshit. Taking it back to 1998, the peak of the 90s, where wrestling was king, if you will. ECW Heatwave, 1998. This show was interesting. I'm gonna go with that. I mean,
yes, that it was. It was interesting.
I wasn't an ECW guy growing up. I felt like it was a bunch of just hardcore madness. And in some of these matches, it definitely showed me everything that I figured it was when I was a kid. And then there was a bunch of matches that was like, holy crap, why wasn't I watching ECW? So, I mean, I guess I kind of got a slap of reality. So I'm definitely going to check out some more ECW when I get a chance. But Emir, what did you think of this show?
Off top, rest in peace to Hayabusa, to Mike Awesome, and to Bam Bam Bigelow. All three featured on this pay-per-view. R.I.P.
Yes, IRP to those three gentlemen. First off, Mike Awesome was just like that. He was fucking awesome. Like, his match was a lot better than I like. Over my second and third watch, like, it got better. Like, it just showed me, like, how good, Mike Awesome was. Bam Bam. Holy crap. Bam Bam just took a bump in the background is what just happened. And then Hayabusa, I liked his match. He botched. He's just like he tries to do like so much so fast, and he just fucks up.
So you're saying he's Sin Cara?
No, Sin Cara was not as good as Hayabusa. That's for sure.
No.
So So this is my first ECW that was not One Night Stand or anything produced by WWE. So that's why I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting. The show starts out with Joey Styles. I used to not like him, but like now that I haven't heard him in like forever, it's kind of refreshing. You know what I mean? Like, he has a different contrast, but it was awesome. He welcomes. Holy shit! I'm supposed to be the fucking guy that runs this show. I can't talk. He welcomes everyone to the show, Heatwave, in Daytona, Ohio. He then introduces his commentary partner and the ECW World Champion, the franchise, Shane Douglas. When the fuck did Shane Douglas show up in ECW? I don't remember him. Like, I just remember the name. I don't remember him at all.
After he left WCW.
That's where I remember him from. Okay. I remember the name. I don't remember him.
The franchise. That's what's so funny, because when John Cena started using the moniker the franchise, I was like, come on now, you stole that from Shane Douglas.
Yeah, he's had that name for as long as I can remember.
Like I said,
I know he had it in WCW too. The franchise. He was part of the NWO at one time too.
Was he part of? Was he part of the black and
it?
white, or was he a part of the red and black?
Black and white.
Black and white.
So was he part of the B team?
Yeah, probably pretty much.
I think that's where I remember him from then. Like, he was like, it used to be like a comedy thing, and they would always tell everybody, like, hey, dude, Hogan says I'm in charge or whatever, and then everybody was in charge one day. I don't know. I think we should go back and watch WCW TV sometime.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was okay. Okay, I'll yawn through that one, but yeah, I'll watch it.
It'd be funny in the most terrible way possible.
I want you to remember Moses Marquez, that Jerry the King Lawler absolutely hated ECW, and he referred to ECW as extremely crappy wrestling.
No, that's terrible.
Yeah, but you'll hear, if you watch this and you watch it back, you'll hear every single jab from Joey Styles about quote unquote sports entertainment.
No,
and at one point, Bubba Ray Dudley calls out WWF by name.
No, he does.
Yeah, he does. He calls out WCW by name too. So,
by the way, speaking of Joey Styles, okay, this is how you. First of all, I'm so used to listening to the robot that is Michael Cole that there's two things. I forgot what commentary was like in a non-PG era, but even worse than non-PG is ECW. Like, I've listened to Joey Styles be like, "Wow, he took a hit right in the puss," and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Exactly.
Right.
It was a little more
He's
straightforward, and then the "oh my god," like. He said it like 3 times in every match, and like some people complain about Mauro and the Mamma Mia, but I mean, Jesus Christ, Joey, you're killing me.
Yeah, but you know what?
He's like, "Oh, big dick is penetrating," and I'm like, okay.
That's a terrible name, by the way. It was Big Dick
Dudley. But you forget these things, though. You forget how much that mature. You get that at the beginning of it, where it says mature audiences only. Well, yeah, you get to see what the heck it is. So.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy. Anyway, Shane Douglas makes his way to the ring with Francine. There's to a ruckus ovation. This crowd's going bananas. Francine looks like an ECW manager. So when Shane grabs the mic, he tells the people he can't wait for Bam Bam to get his hands on Taz. Shane says Bam Bam assures him that he'll put Taz through the concrete floor. At Living
Francine got some.
No, go ahead.
She got some Tego biddies.
Oh no, I was gonna reference those and I have it written down like word for word, everything that. Here, this is gonna be hilarious. At Living Dangerously, Bam Bam put Taz through the ring. Shane tells Joey Styles he's looking sharp. He says, "Thanks, it's a new suit. I got a double-breasted like Francine." She responds by saying, "I bet you didn't spend $6,000 on them like I did these," and rubs his face on her breasts.
Right?
Nostalgia.
Oh, man. That woman. 2 big old bitties and a nice butt. That's all she had.
And that was the thing. It was awesome. That was one of the things that guys loved about ECW. There was many reasons. I learned all this just from one show. There was many reasons to love ECW. You could love it for the maturity, the raunchiness, whatever. You could love it for the wrestling aspect, because a lot of these guys were just putting on killer matches. They didn't need, weapons. They didn't need gimmicks. They didn't need, the constant abuse. You know what I mean? Some of these guys just had great matches to have great matches. So, I mean, for crying out loud, the first match, Just Incredible and Jerry Lynn, was actually really freaking good.
Oh, that one was a good ass match. That one was a good ass match.
Well, since we're starting with that match, by the way, I take notes when we watch these shows, and off top, I need to understand why every referee was dressed like a soccer player.
And so they could stand out. And what do you mean every ref? It was one ref for like every match.
Yeah, we're back to our last
Teddy Long.
Podcast, with freaking Teddy Long, in every damn match. So
every match but the main event.
Yeah, exactly.
And this one we had they had one ref. They had maybe a backup ref if they needed him, but they had the one ref. And they even made fun. And the Dudleys even made fun of him at one point, saying like that they had the crooked ref who had the actual hair, and made fun of the guy being bald.
Just
Okay,
Incredible
don't get ahead of us.
at one point grabs the him and Jerry Lynn are outside the ring, and he grabs a beer that belongs to a fan, and he does that move where you like punch the guy in the head with a cup of beer so that it comes splashing out of the cup and it looks like this huge impact. And Jerry Lynn has to now sell the beer shot like it's the worst paid he's ever been in.
No, it was awesome. Okay, so I gotta ask you guys, and maybe this is just me because I've been watching too much New Japan. Didn't Jerry Lynn somewhat look like Kenny Omega?
Because his hair is curly and blonde, I think.
No, but I mean, like, even if you looked at it, well, maybe it was just the hair, but I mean, like, I looked at it, I was like, I swear to God, like, you do a couple things, and that's Kenny.
The thing too about when he was wrestling, Just Incredible, is so he did two different Frankensteiners, and neither one of these guys are like cruiserweight. So like the cruiserweights, when a cruiserweight takes a Frankensteiner, off the top rope, they flip and land on their back. But these guys are bigger than cruiserweights. So when the Frankensteiner was done to Just Incredible, he legit landed on his head.
Oh yeah, that happened throughout the night. Guy after guy after guy after guy after guy landing on their fucking head. But
yeah, and that second Frankensteiner was to the outside, him going through a table to boot.
Yeah, it was like Botch City. I mean, for every time. I mean, I know you're supposed to land a certain way, with every move, but it just seems like they didn't really care as to how they landed. And the way Joey Styles, he took a bad hit. He took a bad bump. But I mean, even though he took those bad bumps and, bad hits and they landed wrong, it's like they sold it so well, like it didn't even matter.
Yeah, it was. But I mean, they were just going out there, they were just wrestling. That was just the whole thing. They were just wrestling. But this was a really good match to start it out. Just Incredible is very talented. I don't remember him being that big. Maybe he was smaller in his like WWE run or whatever, but like he looked huge to me. So
maybe because he couldn't take the same steroids he did in
oh, there you go.
Or I'm sorry, performance.
The proper supplements. That's what it is. The proper supplements.
Yo, check this out. Are we just not going to mention Nicole Bass?
No. We were going off on a rant. I want to talk about the whole entourage, not just Nicole, not just her, everybody.
The one thing about Nicole Bass, when Jerry Lynn hit her, and Joey Styles was like, he hit her right in the nuts. You heard me.
Like, that was hilarious. He low-blowed this gigantic woman. At one point, he's like, they should have named her Russia because she's bigger than China. Like, another jab at WWF.
Oh my God.
That was hilarious. I laughed and laughed.
Back to the referring of WWF. He was that, everything Joey said, and it was like I was literally rolling. Even my wife asked me, she goes, "Who the hell's that big white man?"
Yeah, talking about the whole posse, like you said, Moses Marquez. One thing that I noticed, there was a lot of like guy on girl violence, like power drivers getting punched in the face. Like they didn't care. They're like, "Fuck it, it's fair game."
Yeah, everybody was fair game. Everybody took a bump. You knew like that Tony dude would get punched eventually, and he got punched, and then like I said, he beat the crap out of what's her face. I want to say he hit her with a low blow and then hit her with a chair shot. So of course, chair on chair violence, and some of these chair shots throughout the show were just gruesome. I mean, luckily these ones were
headshots.
Unprotected headshot is an understatement. Like these. Oh, I don't want to jump ahead, but we'll get into it. I will rant when we get there. Yeah. But
I know you're talking about Mike Hudson.
Oh my God!
Just Incredible gets Jerry Lynn upside down on the top rope for like a jumping power driver, which it hurt Justin's knee, but also Jerry Lynn again what looked like an unprotected fall, just flat on his head, and I was like, he's dead. That's it.
Yeah, another one, absolutely dead. The guy laid there for minutes. They had multiple people in the ring trying to make sure if he was just okay. that's not selling people. That he got fucked up. Like some of these, like they were just going out there and to do shit. And if it looked good, great. If it didn't, whatever. We're doing shit. And I mean, it was awesome because they did a bunch of shit. But I mean, yeah, his this giant pile driver. I mean, it was a giant tombstone. It was just this killer tombstone from the top. You know, Just Incredible picks up the win. It was, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Like it was great until I thought I saw somebody die.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Chastity took a bump. I know that other guy, Jason, took a bump. It was a chair shot, wasn't it? But he took a chair shot from Jerry Lynn, and just completely, he was just like dazed and confused on the outside.
Oh yeah, I mean, everybody was just hitting everybody. It was just ridiculous. You know what I mean? But because it was so ridiculous and it was entertaining, because I don't watch it, I gave it a 3. I gave it a 3. It had awesome spots. It was a lot of interference, but I mean, I think that's what WCW. I'm sorry, WCW. I see this. I'm going to do this all the time. ECW was kind of all about, but I mean, when the big spots happened, they were great. Except for when guys got fucked up. But I mean, they were still great. I just wish guys would be a little safer. Luckily, they've learned from the 20 years of this.
Yeah, there were some good spots in it, but aside from the outside interference part, there was. I gave it a 2.5, and it wasn't that it wasn't a good match. It was just there was a lot of confusion in the outside interference part, and that's kind of like what hampered my rating for it, because I probably would have gave it about a 3.
I gave it a 2, and the reason why is because though eventually the action did pick up and there were some satisfying spots, I'm sorry, the beginning was just such a slow start, like slow to the point where I was like, was it a mistake to choose this show? And then eventually it did pick up, but it really kind of was just dragging in the beginning. So I immediately went, this is a 1, change my mind. And then by the end I went, okay, fine, 2, because it got better.
And that's it. But they surprisingly jump right into the next match, and the next match is Lance Storm versus Chris Candido. I want to stop. Hold on. I want to stop you guys right now. Who the fuck is Chris Candido?
What?
Oh, what? Are you kidding?
I swear to God, I know him. I don't know him.
You gotta watch some. That's the thing, man. Yeah. Well, you gotta start watching some. I'm happy we're doing these retro shows because there's so many people that any of us, not Paul, but the other 2 of us may have missed, and you get a chance to go back and go like, oh wait, who's this guy who didn't have as big a career as he could have? But actually, these guys, like Chris Candido, was a guy that was like at a time very famous. He just didn't. He never really reached like legend status, to the point to where like a Rock or somebody else who's like constantly coming back or whatever. But he had a huge impact. The thing I didn't really like about the match is I kind of felt like he was kind of doing like a Rick Steiner gimmick, so to speak. But that was Sunny, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that was Tammy Lynn Sitz.
Oh, she's so fine. I thought about Shawn Michaels calling out Bret Hart. You had some sunny days. I'm like, I want to have some sunny days.
Don't we all?
Oh man.
I mean, that was
her.
That was her. This was a wrestling match. This is what this was. This was ECW's wrestling
Storm,
match.
Man, Lance Storm is a graduate from the Stu Hart dungeon, and everything. So
I like the part where the Joey Styles goes like, "Oh yeah, Lance Storm has recently developed a personality." And I thought to myself, "No, he hasn't."
Oh no.
That's but one thing I did want to point out real quick is that, it's kind of ironic to me that every week on Monday Night Raw, Oh wait, that's such a fucking lie. I don't mean every week. I mean like whenever Brock Lesnar shows up, a couple times a year, and the ring announcer tries to announce Brock Lesnar, and Paul Heyman will always snatch the mic and go like, "I got this," and then he does the announcing instead. And then on this pay-per-view that was being ran by Paul E. Dangerously, who was undoubtedly in the back, we saw Tammy, aka Sunny, pull that move way back in 1998 and go like, "No, let me do the announcing. I can do this better than you." I was like, "Wow, that's pretty cool."
That is.
And the funny thing is that was his fiance at the time.
Right.
And she ended up becoming his wife. Not too long after that, he had his little run in WCW, just like she did, through the latter parts of, or I believe through the middle parts, and then she had her little part in WWF, around that time too, a little thereafter. And wasn't Chris Candido part of the Hollywood Blondes or something like that?
No, I thought the Hollywood Blondes was Steve Austin and Brian Pillman, right?
Yeah, yep. Not them. It was another group that was in WWF, wasn't it?
Not too sure.
God dang it!
I'm looking up all of this
nonsense but I
right now.
can't think of the damn name of the group. Anyways, but I know it wasn't like this extensive one. You know what I was thinking? The Body Donnas. That was the name of the tag team that I was thinking of.
By the way, Chris Candido passed away April 28th, 2005.
Yes, he did.
Looks like Chris Candido and Stitch.
He was one half of the tag team, the Body Donnas. Good job.
Yeah, see? Hey, good job. Pat me on the back.
No, the Body Donnas was at WWF or WCW?
WWF.
Yeah, exactly, WWF.
Oh, yeah. Also, see the Body Donnas. They were named Skip and Stitch.
Yeah. See? I knew it. See, look at pat me on the back. Do I get an award?
Tom Pritchard. Yeah, you do. Good job,
you
man.
get an award. Congratulations.
Our WT award at the end of the year. Right.
I knew who the real Hollywood Blondes were, though.
Hey, I'll give you that one. All right.
Don't make me start a knowledge title out of nowhere, guys.
Flying Brian.
Brian Pillman. So, I'm honestly a Lance Storm fan. I like his, in-ring work. He's solid at what he does. This match, it had its moments. The starting suplex was pretty awesome. The brawling outside the ring was okay. The superplex where hit the big superplex at a big, spinning heel kick from the top. The big spots. They had me interested. That blonde bombshell, crazy fall away power bomb from the top rope is insane, and for that I give it a 2.5.
Oh yeah, there was some. I must admit that this was actually a better technical match than any other match on the card.
I completely agree, but this match also felt somewhat like a Miz match. Like Sunny kind of played the Maurice role; she was always interfering. But I mean, that was the thing. That's the gimmick.
It is the gimmick. I really wanted to see. I get having the valet on the outside and interfering. I get all that stuff, but I also think it's Lance Storm. I guess I'm looking at it because I know Lance Storm's complete career today versus whoever he was at that time. So I'm thinking let this guy showcase more. But again, I don't know how Lance Storm he was at the time. Obviously he would go on to be Lance Storm, this amazing guy in WCW, and he did some stuff in WWE. But I don't know where he was at the time. But I thought, yes, technically sound. I just wanted to see more wrestling.
Yeah, and I think because you think from Graduate, you think Stu Hart, he was in that dungeon, you think you want more you want to see more technical wrestling from him, and then you see how he was, in WWF, slash WWE. You remember that Lance Storm too. He had he was in WCW too. So you remember, those technical matches. ECW, it wasn't as technical, and we all already know that, but
Yeah.
he gave enough in this match to where I give a pretty good rating on it. So
Here's the thing too, a little bit of backstory. So at the time that they faced each other, they had actually just lost the tag team titles to Sabu and Rob Van Dam. They actually won the belts December 5th, 97 from Doug Furnace and Phil LaFon. And they actually held the belts for 6 months, but their gimmick was that they didn't like each other. In spite of the fact that they didn't like each other, they kept finding a way to win until they eventually lost the tag team belts. And then this was a way to kind of blow off the feud. It's kind of like now that we don't have the belts anymore, we're going against each other, and it's supposed to be like the last time they fought each other or whatever.
Yeah, but that's how the feud kind of continued, was after he had crossed him, after Candido had crossed Storm, they kind of continued it on, even though they were still tag team champions. I guess it kind of worked out, I guess, for however which way they did it. So
one more interesting note on Chris Candido, and this is before he died, he actually faced AJ Styles in TNA.
Oh,
wow!
That I didn't know. Again, I was unfamiliar with who Chris Candido was, so I'm gonna have to start doing my history a little better. But we're gonna jump into the next, I guess, segment. They don't have any segments, but I mean, for the ones that they did, they definitely stood out. We got a video shown earlier.
Wait, before you start
ratings?
that.
Oh no, my apologies. 2.5 from myself, Paul.
2.5 for me as well.
2.5 from
I
Emir.
actually gave it a good 3.5. And
Ooh.
the reason why is because
You're crazy.
this was probably the most technical match of any of them that were on this card. And
True, but definitely not the most entertaining.
I'm not saying it was the best technical match, of all time. I'm just saying that it was the most technical of all the matches that were on this card.
I completely agree. It was technical. It was like I said, it was a wrestling match on an ECW show, but it was not a bad one. It wasn't great, but I will call it good. So we jump in. We see a video package from earlier. I guess Joey Styles is sitting there. He's like, no, I don't want to talk about that. That's not on my format. Like making it out to be like a shoot, whatever. So they show a video of New Jack, of all people, calling out this random ass guy named Jack Victory. And then all of a sudden, Jack Victory shows up. They're like, oh, what's up? You want to do this shit right now? And then the Dudleys show up, damn near hits him with a car. All hell fucking breaks loose. What the fuck? Like, what the fuck? Like, was this like a normal thing in ECW? Did this happen on occurrence,
I mean, the thing about it is, okay, ECW is like if the Attitude Era was on drugs, like cocaine. And you understand what I'm saying? Like, there was no rules. Yes, people getting hit by cars, people getting jumped in the back. Okay, let me put you like this. In WWE today, if a guy pricks his finger and blood shows, the referee immediately runs and puts on gloves. They stop the whole match and they put a Band-Aid on him. Versus ECW, where Sandman would make himself bleed on the way to the ring. Like, the match hasn't even started, and he would just make himself bleed every time he entered the ring.
Yeah, that always kind of threw me for a loop.
Violence. I mean, it's crazy.
It's definitely crazy. So we get another backstage promo. This one from the ECW Tag Team Champions, Rob Van Dam and Sabu. What was the manager's name again? Alfonso something?
Alfonso. I fucking hate him. I want to shove that whistle down his
That whistle drove
throat.
me nuts through the whole match.
I hate Alfonso. I hate his hat. I hate his sunglasses, and I hate that fucking whistle. Let me tell you something. when it comes to managers, there are things that are iconic, and we talked about it before. Jim Cornette's got the tennis racket, and then Jimmy Hart's got the megaphone. And Paul Bear's got the urn. Then Alfonso's got that stupid fucking whistle, and I was like, I'm gonna break my TV. I hate that guy.
Oh man. Oh, by the way, did you know who Jack Victory was?
Enlighten me.
Okay, he was actually in our last the last pay-per-view we actually, reviewed. He was actually Russian Assassin number 2.
That's right, Russian Assassin number 2. His real name Kenneth Reinhurst.
Yes. And not a year later, he actually replaced Dennis Kadri as Randy Rose's partner in the Midnight Express.
He also went by the names the Blackmailer, Super Destroyer, and the Terrorist.
Yes.
Super Destroyer. I remember that. I remember the Super Destroyer from NWA actually. So
yeah, of all the names he had to come up with, it's like, what are we gonna call him? Oh, the Blackmailer. Hey, look, we don't call him the Terrorist.
So
pull a name out of a fucking hat. Yeah, let's write down a bunch of names, throw it in a hat. What are you gonna be called this week? The Blackmailer.
The Blackmailer. It's no different than the fact that that Mark Calloway was originally supposed to be called Kane the Undertaker, and then they just went, well, we could make 2 guys out of that.
like, oh geez, let's just saved ourselves the trouble. So RVD is awesome. Like, he's cutting this fucking promo. He says everybody got their money's worth because I showed up, and he's like, and he's gonna prove why he's the whole fucking show. He's just awesome. Like, that whole promo, he's just putting himself over and telling Sabu, yeah, you too. It was just great. I miss him.
Yeah, a young RVD. Look at how, that dude was just flying.
He was shredded though too.
Yeah. I don't like fucking Sabu. Sabu wrestles with no passion, and he does a lot of crazy shit. But it's obvious that he's just going through the motions. Like Sabu never looks like he's competing. He looks like he's going like, okay, now grab the chair, now jump over the rope. Oh, okay, I gotta make sure I go back over there and kick that guy. It's just like a laundry list in his head, as opposed to like really feeling the match. And he's an asshole, so I don't like him.
He's an asshole. So okay.
Yeah, Sabu just the crazy fucker that just comes over and starts kicking shit, beating shit up, trashing your house and didn't even give a damn. That's just what he does.
Yep, sounds like Sabu.
This match and type of this match is you would never see a match this good in WWF. Yeah, because it's not their ECW, but it match, and I really enjoyed the match.
No, I did too. So I hope you're talking about the Mike Awesome Masako Tanaka match, right?
Oh yeah, because that was the next match we have up.
Yeah, that match was, how can I put this? It was one of the better matches I saw all night. At least I was the most entertained. This match was nuts. Mike Awesome is awesome. Like, he's huge, and he's like Braun Strowman-esque, and he's like flying around and doing planches and fucking springboard this and fucking damn near backflip. Like, he was just crazy. He didn't do a backflip, but shit was crazy. He's incredible.
Had him build at 290 pounds, so basically 300 pounds, and he's springboarding. You understand what I'm saying? Like that
with ease, mind you. But he's the balance though too.
That part where he what's the guy's name that he was fighting?
Masato Tanaka. And does the name sound familiar?
Yeah, because of Tanaka, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Does the name sound familiar, Masato Tanaka?
To
Anybody?
Like, I was gonna look him up and I never got the chance. He
okay,
didn't necessarily look familiar though.
Masato Tanaka. He was actually in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Oh.
He was actually their inaugural Intercontinental Champion.
No way.
Actually, no. Take that back. He was actually the second Intercontinental Champion. He was their inaugural Never Open.
The
Open.
Never Open. Oh, nice. Holy crap! I had not a clue that he had such an actual lineage. Like I said, I figured that all the foreigners that came in had some sort of, like actual name behind them, but I was like I said, like just like the guys in the tag team match, I was totally unaware. The other guy looked familiar, but I don't want to jump into that. I do want to keep talking about this one though. We were talking about chair shots. These are some of the gnarliest chair shots I've ever seen. Like,
and the chair was like just bent over Masato's head.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Is it me, or did that chair look a hell of a lot thicker than like the ones you would see on WWF at the time?
No, because it's ECW. They don't have the budget for like real wrestling props. They have to buy, like, for example, later on in the night, there were some ladders brought out by Sandman and the Deadlies. Those are like actual painter's ladders.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
Yeah, they weren't those. They weren't aluminum. Those aluminum ones. That WWF used to, WWF, WWE used to use. No, these were actual sturdier metal.
Yeah, and those chairs were thick. And Mike Awesome was bending that chair over Masato Tanaka's head. Tanaka was not even protecting himself. He's just taking the shots to the head, no blood or nothing. I was like, how is this possible?
And like the first one, he damn near no-sold. He was just like, man, what's up? Popped up. What's going on? Like, what the fuck, bro?
Now, here's the thing about Masato Tanaka. At one point, Joey Styles is like, we're not used to seeing him on his back. So even though I didn't know who he was, it was clear to me that wherever he came from, he was an important person. Also, if you can tell, because he went over. As much as Mike Awesome did in that match, Masato Tanaka went over. So I get that he was important for whatever he had done. I just never heard of him. But the part where he takes Mike Awesome and power bombs him over the rope down onto the chair, and Mike Awesome just completely falls on his head and neck. I was like, oh my God.
I thought he died. Like, legit. Like, I said, this is another guy. This is two people that died on my television screens right in front of my fucking eyes. He just dumped him. He had no regard. He couldn't protect himself if he fucking wanted to. Straight flat on his goddamn neck, and he's a big goddamn dude. He's probably not this 290 that they're billing him at, but he's still easily a 250, 260 guy. That's a lot of weight on your neck.
Yeah, these guys were huge, and I mean,
even Tanaka was gigantuan.
Mike Awesome was huge, but I mean, the fact that these guys were, doing what they were doing, and and hitting each other the way they were hitting each other, and they were still getting up, standing up. No concussion protocol, but yeah, they were. This was a hard hitting match. I'd give them that one.
Hard hitting is an understatement.
Hey, I'm being polite. Leave me alone.
This one,
but
was brutal.
With that being said, Mike Awesome was such a pleasure to watch, and Masato Tanaka, watching him in the match as well, gave me such a New Japan feel with like just the hard the forearm shots.
Oh yeah,
and the hard hitting, that strong style, and I enjoyed the match so much that I went, you know what, this is a 4 for me. And by the way, the first few matches I'm going like 2.5. This match went to a 4 for me.
Yeah, it was that New Japan feel for me. That's kind of like what it went back to, aside from the chair shots and everything, but it was just more of that New Japan feel. And I'm with Emir, and I gave it a 4 too. And to think, this guy wrestled MVP in New Japan. I mean, Gato in New Japan. Kushida, Ishii, he fought. He fought Naito twice. This guy's obviously been around. This guy has had a great journey in his career.
No,
To face those guys, this was not what 98.
98.
We're talking about 2011, 2012, 2013. Some 15 years later, 15 years later, and still going out there and kicking ass.
Oh, yeah, still going out there and put on quality matches. So this match was everything I thought ECW was, and there was no blood, which is great because but the chair shots was it. I'm gonna be frank, it was a little bit uncomfortable because some of them were just gruesome, and then when Mike got dumped on his neck, I'm not gonna lie. Like I can see the appeal of ECW from this one match. I would have given it a 4 if those chair shots weren't as bad as I felt they were. So for that, I only give it a 3.5. But I am in no way saying that this was bad. This was a very good match. Very good.
You know what I wonder too? The eyes that you have on Moses Marquez, you have the eyes of a man that has been watching a lot of PG era wrestling, and those chair shots. Even though, don't get me wrong, I felt that they were bad too, but I know that at the time, because when I used to watch ECW when it was actually happening in the '90s, that just seemed like everyday business. There was nothing that would not have stood out at the time. It had just been like, oh, okay, a chair shot.
Well, yeah, now with The Rock over there just beating the hell out of Mankind with his hands handcuffed behind him.
Yeah, and that's what we're used to. We're used to seeing that in WWF/WWE. We're used to seeing those chair shots then, before that Attitude Era. That whole between 93 and or 95 to 2000. I mean, you're used to that era where you're hitting everybody. You're talk about the Hell in a Cell 25 years later, and them, Undertaker and Kane. I mean, Undertaker and Mankind beating the shit out of each other, and the tacks in the freaking head and the back and the face. We're used to that. And then we see ECW, and then you hear these chair shots, and you see the shots that they take in the head and the back, and you're just like, okay, how was this entertaining? Because it was. Look at what we watched.
No, like I said, I'm not disagreeing with that. It was completely entertaining. I don't know if I want to go as far as I have the PG. You're probably right. I do. Like, it's kind of hard because you know what I mean. Everybody gets their hands up now. Those were just straight unprotected. I mean, it felt cool when the first one he no-sold, but then it was a second one and a third one and then another one and then another one and then Mike gets dumped and it's like, oh my
off
god,
the top rope with the chair.
Yeah, the top rope one. That was like, oi. I mean, and then all Tanaka did was run 75 fucking feet and just slap him with it. Which I was like, hey, that's okay. I would have popped for that move. You know what I mean? That's a cool move. But it just, I felt like it was just a hair much. But and that's like I said, if my mind was not, I guess, warped, we'll go with that. I would have given it a 4, if not better. But I do want to talk about more awesomeness on this show, and another guy that I love that's not Rob Van Dam. It's Taz. Taz was one of the guys that I actually followed through ECW. I didn't, like I said, I would hear when he would win this and that, and then when they signed him to WWF, I went berserk because I love Taz. Taz is awesome. Cuts his great promo backstage with his towel on his head saying he's ready for Bam Bam. He knows that Bam Bam's going to kick his ass, but that's the part that he likes. And then we get this excellent, just excellent Bully Ray promo that I have written word for word, and it was excellent. He yells, "Dreamer, you can give your soul to Jesus, but your ass belongs to the Dudleys." He says, "The ring is our church. These are our colors. 3D is our cross. And Tommy Dreamer, it's your cross to bear." What a fucking promo. I had to rewind it, watch it, rewind it again, and watch it again so I can just write it down word for word. It was excellent. Bubba Ray was cutting just the greatest promos in the fucking mid-90s, and he's still doing it in ROH. Goddamn, Bubba Ray.
Yeah, a heel Bubba Ray Dudley or Bully Ray has always been the best version. Don't get me wrong, all that was blah, 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 blah. You know, that's cool. That serves its purpose. But like when you hear Bubba Ray Dudley, like there's videos of him like literally just assaulting the crowd, like calling like you fat bitch, and like it's just like this dude. He's from they're from like New York, like Yonkers, Brooklyn, shit like that. Yo, this dude says what the fuck he wants to say, and he's at his best when he's playing a heel character.
Completely agree.
Yeah, if you ever get a chance, look at his work, and I know you guys hear this, but look at his work when he was just him in TNA.
Bully Ray.
You know, he was just Bully Ray in TNA, and he wanted that title, and he worked for it, and it wasn't Devon. He didn't need Devon there. He didn't need anybody else there. He just made that character work.
Yeah, it was excellent. So speaking of it, I'm not gonna go excellent, but pretty good. Hayabusa, Shinzaki, excuse me, versus RVD and Sabu for the ECW Tag Team Championships. Why in the fuck did their Tag Team Championships look like IC titles? And why in the hell does that TV title look like the winged angled belt?
From WWF, I know. I was like, "Yo, is that the gold eagle wing belt from WWF?"
Fuck yeah!
Yeah,
it was a trip,
shit, man. You know what? It doesn't really sound like you love the match, but I'm just gonna state off top. I had this as match of the night.
Nah.
Wow. But no.
Nah.
It's a couple things. Hayabusa. So I know who this guy is. I knew that he had passed away, but I didn't know how. He's a character that I've used on the WWE 2K games because people always create him, but I had never actually seen him wrestle. So when I saw him coming out, and I didn't have the card ahead of time, so every match I was just like reacting to it as it was happening. I was like, "Oh my god, I get to see a Hayabusa match," and it was like, "Oh, this is gonna be dope." And then also, as we said, RVD in his prime. I mean, just ripped, and he can fly, he can go, and then Sabu. I'm not a big Sabu guy, as I've already stated, but there was a lot of great tag team spots in this match, and again, because of the two opponents were both Japanese, to me it was like a really good wrestling match. It had a little bit of everything, and I really enjoyed it, including the finish where both guys laid out on the table and that double leg drop. I just loved it, man, from start to finish. I thought it was match of the night for me.
No, I mean, it was really good. I enjoyed the high-flying RVD being absolutely incredible, hot dogging it, you know what I mean? These two guys from Japan, Shinzaki and Hayabusa, they looked really good, except for the beginning when they're just kind of botching shit. But, I mean, they don't fucking speak English, so what do you expect?
There's that one part where I can't remember if it was Hayabusa that was on the ground or the other guy, but like Sabu had just knocked one of them down, and like as soon as they fell, out of nowhere, Rob Van Dam just hits a splash. Like you don't even see him coming. He just comes from the side of the screen and just kills them. I was like, oh my god, how did he time that?
It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, a lot of the spots where they're up on where they're hitting each other with the table, and then the table breaks. And then they still throw that table out, bring in another table, and then he throws in two more chairs, and then, they set up the table, do the double leg drop off of each rope, off of each corner, and just a lot of the spots that were just in here. I mean,
Spot Fest.
Yeah, there was a list. Literally, there was a
Alfonso.
list.
The only good thing Alfonso did, and I wanted to take that fucking whistle and shove it down his goddamn throat. But the only good thing he did, I like when he held that chair up, and then Rod Van Dam, he did that kick off the top rope and just
the Van Daminator
in the head. Yeah, like because I think the reason why it felt so good to me is because it was like, first of all, Mr. Monday Night, Rob Van Dam, just to see him while he was in ECW, not like when he was in WWE and it was some watered down version, he was already a bit older, but like to see a young RVD doing his thing, just cruising around that ring like nothing, like nobody's business. It was like, this is awesome to see, man. And Sabu, I don't fucking like him, but he had some really good spots in the match as well. And Hayabusa and the other guy who I can't remember, but I don't know. Man. Suzaki. My wife was like, "Are those tattoos on him, or can that stuff come off?"
No, it comes off. It was the same. Matter of fact, here, little backstory. He was actually Hakushi in WWF between 1994 and 1996.
Oh yeah, I love Gucci.
So if he looks familiar, that's where he was at.
I want to say he was also a former All Asian Tag Team Champion in All Japan. I think that's right.
Yeah, he was. They were. Since this was a cross promotion with Frontier Martial Arts from Japan. These two were actually bare knuckle tag team champions.
I think Masato Tanaka was also part of that Frontier.
Yeah, he was also part of it too.
Well, yeah. So I'm just gonna jump right into my rating. This was my other 3.5 star match. I really liked it. I thought the botches up first in the front of it were kind of just hilarious a little bit. But I mean, all in all, it was great. Like I said, seeing Rob Van Dam in his prime was awesome. Sabu, I'm not gonna say I didn't like him. I'm with you with Emir. You know what I mean? I feel like he just doesn't like give you what the effort behind, not the effort, but the like the passion behind it.
There's no passion.
Yeah, there's no passion behind it. You know what I mean?
He's just kind of going through the motions.
Yeah, he's phoning it in.
He was just like this numb figure out there. I mean, he has no emotion. He has no nothing. Like no facial expressions. He hits you, you hit him. Even when he takes a hit, he just like falls over, and it's like, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
So again,
he didn't sell nothing, so he never sells anything. So
no, not at all. But like I said, my 3.5. What about you guys?
No, I'm at 3. I'm at a 3.5 too. I actually did like it, but I didn't. Yeah, it wasn't my favorite of the night, but I did like it.
I think the nostalgia factor, and then also seeing Hayabusa, and he didn't. I'm sure he's probably done more incredible things than what he did in this particular match. But I just felt so excited to get to see him wrestle for the first time. So I had it at a 4.5 match of the night for me. I enjoyed all the tag team stuff, and Undertaker has that old school move that he does where he just like walks to the middle of the rope and then comes down. But that other guy, I mean, he walked all the way around the damn ring.
That was pretty cool.
Thought it was. Yeah, it was. There were so many cool spots. I just went, I'm not going to say it was a 5-star match, but I thought it was worthy of a 4.5 because I was highly entertained by it.
And I was, but
No, I liked it. That's why the rating I gave it. I mean, it was very entertaining.
Entertaining, for sure. So we're gonna jump into the next match: Taz versus Bam Bam Bigelow. This is the second time since we've reviewed shows we've seen Bam Bam Bigelow.
Right.
Like, I think he's following us. I don't think we're following him. He's following us. This is for the FTW.
The Beast from the East.
The Beast from the East. The FTW World Title. The Fuck the World Championship. Taz
I thought that was
awesome.
for the win.
Nah.
No, it was. This is actually This is actually the heavyweight title that Taz created.
Right.
Kind of like all of the $1 Million Man and his $1 Million belt. he created it because what's his face, Shane Douglas, wouldn't give him a title shot, and then so Taz basically hyperextended his arm, and since he was injured, he still wouldn't get a title shot. So he created this title as a way of, spiting him, telling him, fuck everybody.
I am the captain now.
Yeah, I am the captain now.
That is
So
for sure.
since Shane Douglas wouldn't give him a title shot, he created the belt. He defended it multiple times, lost it once, regained it back, and would eventually win the ECW World Heavyweight Championship. And when he did win it back, he did a unification of it. So basically, it was like a two-year belt.
Taz was so good in this match. I mean, Taz was so good in this match, and he looked so good. Like to see, like I see Taz now, he's got some weight on him. He's older, not super active. But like back then, dude was like his music. I was like, yo, this is all so intense, and he was so good in the match, and the whole story and the build and everything was so good that I had the nerve after the match. I actually had to go tweet Taz, and I was like, hey man, I'm watching ECW Heatwave '98, and you're the fucking man.
That's awesome. I can't say I blame you. Like I said, he was the man. This match was, I guess this match was very ECW style, but it felt more appealing to me. I don't know why. I mean, there were still guys getting color, but I mean, I don't know. I felt this one was a lot better. They brawled all outside the ring. They were throwing each other everywhere, all through the chairs. Bam Bam slips on the bear, falls on his face. It was hilarious. He actually at one point steps pretty much on fucking Taz's face. That's how Taz starts bleeding. But the best part of the whole night is when they go through the stage, which was obviously paper, but it was awesome. But the thing is it took so long for the guys to come out. You legit thought somebody fucked up and did something wrong. Like, what the fuck? It was really good.
Yeah.
It had me on my toes the whole time. I don't want to say I'm being a homer because I really do like Taz, but I mean, like, this was my match of the night.
I thought that spot through the stage was good. What takes away from it is, like, you guys just did that last match when you went through the ring. So it's one of those, like, does that really need to happen immediately again? But the only thing that saved it was Bam Bam coming out first, and still being hurt. Taz coming out, celebrating, and then running and jumping on him and putting him into Taz mission, where supposedly he tapped out. He didn't, though. It looked like he was just reaching for the ropes, and the ref called the match. But the way that the match ended like that, and then Bam Bam still selling the DDT and still selling the Taz mission after the fact, I was like, okay, I'll take it then. Even though it's the same spot technically, but because it ended with Taz going over and Bam Bam felt like he was legit choked out, I was like, well, then good. They did a pretty good job to bring it home.
Yeah, you know what? Every when this started and they were beating the hell out of each other in the ring, and they had the broken table. They were trying to set it up, and they just said, "Fuck it, we'll just do it. We'll just do the spot anyways. Let's throw in a couple more tables and let's try it again. Do it again." And then they break the table once. Then they set it up in the corner because it didn't completely break, and then they and then Taz did a Taz mission into it, and then it broke into a third piece. And I'll go back to what you said. It kind of reminded me about them going through the
ring,
and then through the ramp. It reminded me of remember when they broke the ring in WWF. Not only did they do it once, they did it twice in the same year, I believe, didn't they?
So the first one was
with Mark Henry and the Big Show.
And then Big Show and Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, but they did it twice in the same. They did it twice in the same year, and one was on Raw, and the other one was on SmackDown, I believe.
There was also Big Show choke slamming the Undertaker through the ring.
Oh yeah, and then that one too, and then Kane and the Undertaker, going straight to hell, and it happening the way it did. It just, like I said, it all kind of throws back to you know to that it reminded me of.
Just a quick note, by the way, because I'm just happen to be looking on Twitter, but Masato Tanaka, not only is this guy still wrestling, but he most recently wrestled at GCW at a show called The Dynasty this past December 29th, this past Saturday, in New Jersey, and he still looks young. This dude's like still wrestling.
That's
Well,
awesome.
Well, I don't think he was that old at the time of this pay-per-view.
Yeah, he went against a guy named PCO, and you can catch that on the Fight TV app if you're interested.
Oh, I know all about PCO. Him and his ROH run. Anyway, like I said, this match was really good. I enjoyed pretty much every second of it. I do have a couple of things I do want to complain about. He didn't tap, which is fine by me. He's reaching for the ropes in a Falls Count Anywhere match. I don't see the point of that.
He tapped, the match is over.
Oh yeah, and it was like, oh, he's reaching for the rope. Okay,
Montreal screw job.
That's fine
Yeah,
by
and
me.
then Shane Douglas going nuts up there. Oh,
that's what really made it.
For the rope, dude. It was a Falls Count Anywhere.
He was reaching for the ropes.
Shit don't count no more.
I was looking in his eyes. And I was looking at his hands, and he was reaching for the ropes, and it's like, okay, and he's freaking out, and he does a fucking monitor off the thing, and the big titty lady's like, calm down, Shane, calm down.
Solo.
Oh yeah, that was hilarious. Joey Styles is a very interesting commentator. I'm going to get into that when we get to the main event, but I'm going to give this my highest rating of the night, and it would have been a little bit higher if this ending wasn't so random and abrupt, but I gave it a 4, and it is my match of the night.
I gave it a 3. It had nothing, and it was I just didn't like the ending. It would have been a 3.5 had that ending not happened the way it did. The whole I'm reaching for the rope, and then he didn't even tap, and yeah, that was bad for me.
Well, truth be told, I did give it a full star for Shane Douglas's freak out.
I gave it a 4 as well, and it's because I thought the total package was fantastic. And I'm not talking about Lex Luger. I'm saying the backstory, all the they gave you some videos showing you what led up to this fight, the backstage promos leading to the fight itself, and even though again the spot we'd seen it before in the last match, it was so similar, but still pretty cool if you're there live in person to see it. And the not tapping and reaching for the ropes thing was kind of like a little bit bizarre, but what I liked was Bam Bam Bigelow was so much bigger than Taz, and the fact that Taz still choked him out, and Bam Bam legit looked like he was like, just couldn't catch his breath, and he was reaching for the ropes like help me. I just thought
he sold it for sure.
Yeah, such a good job selling. So I went, you know what, this is good. This is a 4. I like it, even though it didn't make sense.
No, that's okay. That's quite all right. So I do love Taz's his catch line. You know what I mean? He said, beat me if you can, survive if I let you. I do love that line. Taz is awesome. Then we get another video package. But first, before we get into the video package, Joey Styles is just going fucking bananas. He hates the Dudleys. He doesn't want to show this package. He thinks they're scum, they're trash, they're fucking blah, 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 blah. The video package shows the Dudleys giving a woman, something McGillicuddy right now. I can't remember her first name. Beulah McGillicuddy, I think is what it is.
Beulah.
Beulah. I knew I would remember. They gave her a 3D. She lands wrong on her neck and is unfortunately unable to do anything more in ECW. So she loses her job. They make
It didn't even look like she got hurt though. That didn't even look like that spot looked completely safe to me.
Yeah, it was. You could see how the way she landed on Bubba Ray Dudley. Yeah, it was completely not how they played it out to be. Oh yeah, well you broke her fucking neck.
Oh yeah, you broke her neck.
You almost killed her, and this and that, and it's like, dude, that was probably the safest freaking thing that happened though throughout the whole, video package.
And probably the biggest thing throughout, ECW's run. That was the safest move anybody's ever taken in ECW. Congratulations.
Right.
So, but no, I mean,
Couldn't even get an armbar that probably looks safer.
yeah, you're not wrong there. But I mean, they played this whole thing up. They made it like this gigantic thing. They hate Tommy Dreamer. I don't know why. I don't know how New Jack got into this whole thing and why the Dudleys are involved. But like, it's crazy. Okay, and I want to ask, was there just no music for the Dudleys back then, or was this like a network edit?
I don't know what happened, man. I didn't understand why they came out to no music at all. And honestly, that whole segment was bullshit. Like, this was the dumb. Like, I was like, damn, they were on such a roll. This was such a good pay-per-view. And now the Dudleys are just in the ring. They have nothing to talk about. And so I thought to myself, there must be something happening. There must be a reason. Like, maybe a Tommy Dreamer or somebody hasn't arrived yet or isn't ready to come out yet. And Paul's in the back going, just keep talking. I need 5 more minutes. I need 7 more minutes. Just keep talking, and we'll get him out there as soon as we can. I mean, I don't know what the fucking issue was, but like, there was literally no point to this, and I'm
gonna guess Sandman wasn't drunk enough yet.
I don't know what it was.
Out there, maybe he didn't have a pack of cigarettes. Maybe somebody went to the corner, to go grab him some, so he had a cigarette walking out. Either that, or they had to have somebody, out there in the audience. Hey, you got a cigarette, that we can give to Sandman. All the other good stuff.
All I know is they had what felt like what seemed to be like 10 minutes. It felt more like 30. They introduce everybody in the fucking posse. The guy takes forever. They're just blah 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 blah. It just and then
it was funny because the entrance and then the entrance to Dreamer, Sandman, and Spike. That whole thing was longer than the match.
It was longer than the match. It was longer than these guys' talking segment. Fucking Sandman has to crack 4 beers, chug them, smash them on his head, just so everybody gets it. Okay? So he pretty much blows through 2 cigarettes in the whole process. He's already blown up. He can't wrestle anything. You know what I mean? They're out there milking it. They're milking it. And it took forever, but we finally got a match. And who in the fuck thinks Big Dick Dudley is actually 6'7", is completely and totally retarded? Like, if that's the case, he's like, then that means that referee's got to be 6'5", because he was like, if anything, an inch or 2 taller than him. Like, Mike Awesome is 6'7". I can believe that, or I think he's like 6'6", but I mean, like, I can believe he would be 6'7".
Oh no, you get all these guys that are, Bubba Ray Dudley was. He was like, what, 350 pounds is what they were measuring him at? Or
yeah, and the homeboy wasn't even close. Bubba Ray was bigger. It was closer to 350 than this, than the Big Dick Dudley was. It's like, dude, get out of here. And then who even is this guy? Like, I've never seen him ever. And
I was looking him up, and I was like, okay, this is just this guy.
He's just some guy.
I hated this whole fucking match. I hated it. Like, I don't think it belonged in the card. It's so stupid because when they announced like this is what's going to be the main event, I was like, this is about to be dope. I mean, we're talking about Tommy Dreamer in his prime, Sandman, the Dudley Boys, like in EC freaking W. This is going to be awesome. Man, this match was bullshit. I don't give a fuck how many big dicks are in these Dudleys. I think like. I know we wait till the end for the ratings. I'm just gonna be like, yo, this is like a 1. Like, boo. I hated it, and everyone's.
I'm gonna give it a -0.5.
-0.5. Like I said, this.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a -0.5.
-0.5.
Yeah, -0.5. Look, I'm even being realistic here. This was a shit match, and I mean there was nothing. There was nothing, and the fact that I went negative is because the fucking entrance was longer than the fucking match.
Yeah,
all the bullshit talking, all the Sandman, Dreamer and Spike coming out, and they're out there, swigging beers, and I'm waiting for freaking the Enter Sandman theme, and all of a sudden, you get like this generic instrumental version of a song, that Yeah, yeah, it was. Yeah, they lost me on that one.
No, it was.
I can't even comment on it. The fact that that's how bad it was.
It was a shit show. It showed off all the main reasons why everybody loved ECW. It was a spot fest. Jump off of this, jump off of that, land on this, land on that, get hit with that, get hit with this. Everybody's everywhere. Chaos at all times. It was a shit show. I gave it a half star. I didn't hate it. I just don't ever want to see it again. And if I never see it again in my whole life, it'll be too soon.
Yep.
I'll stop it after the Taz match. If I
Yeah. Most definitely. I mean, it was just so much bullshit. Like, that's like, the match could have been okay. If like you didn't kill me with the bullshit, the match could have been okay. I could have maybe given it like a 2. If anything, just for the chaos. But you killed me for 30 fucking minutes while I watched everybody drink beer but me. What the fuck?
Exactly. Yeah, the promo that Bubba gave was better than the match.
Oh, hands down.
Was 100 times better than the match.
That's what
Yeah,
Bubba
man,
does. He produces great promos.
I don't even think it was saved at the end where like New Jack comes running back in
But he
and
does
this
get
was
like this insane pop. Everybody freaks for New Jack. The thing that tripped me out with New Jack is the entire time he's in the ring, the music is still playing. Like nobody wants to cut his music. Does he have to wrestle with music on? Is he one of those guys?
Right.
Somebody hit something on the radio.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
we'll see. The
man.
paper was good up until that point.
Yeah, that really killed it. It just didn't make sense. It was like, you guys are on a roll, you guys are doing great, and then you want to lay an egg on the fucking main event. It's just ridiculous.
Laying egg is an
Yeah, exactly.
understatement. Understatement. So, with that being said, I give this show a thumbs in the middle. Because as much as I was entertained, I don't want to say it was a great show. I could watch it again, but I'm definitely fast forwarding through a lot of shit. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it the thumbs in the middle because you know what, that aside from the few parts that you said, I'll fast forward through. I like RVD's listening to RVD again,
Oh yeah,
because because he's the whole fucking show.
Oh yeah, yes he is.
Not the
RVD
whole
for Johnny.
effing show. No, he's the whole fucking show.
I'm with you guys. I'll say thumbs in the middle because there was more good than bad in my opinion, but because I can't excuse the bad, I want to save my thumbs up or my thumbs way up for something amazing. And this show, there are matches on this card that have high replay value, but there are other matches that I never want to fucking see again. So, but overall, it was good to take a look back at ECW, and I enjoyed doing it.
Yeah, it was an experience, that's for sure. So we do have one more on our list coming up, and then we're actually going to be like redoing our criteria and what we're considering retro, and we're gonna come up with a whole new format for that. But our next show is gonna be I just saw it. Crap. Capital Punishment?
Capital Punishment.
Capital Combat is what it is.
Oh, Capital Combat. Capital Punishment.
Combat. Same difference, same thing. Capital
Combat.
Capital Combat. It is an NWA/WCW show, or technically would be WCW by then, right?
Yeah,
They
it
got
was
bought out by
WCW
Turner.
by then.
So, yeah, very intriguing and awesome if you ask me. So I'm excited for the next one. I feel it's going to be a little bit better than this one. I'm not going to say like by a whole bunch, but enough is enough. I do want to ask you guys really quick because this is big news right now, and I want to know your opinion. 2 guys have said they're leaving New Japan. Kushida and Kenny Omega. Any thoughts?
Go ahead, Emir.
I don't have any speculation. I think about Kenny Omega, and I just think when I first saw Kenny Omega for the first time, Wrestle Kingdom 11, I was like, oh my god, if I was gay, it would be for him. Like,
my
Kenny
Lord.
Omega is awesome. oh my God, Kenny, right?
my
And
God,
then
Kenny.
I was like, I want him to go to WWE. But then after I watched New Japan and I started like falling in love with New Japan, I was like, this motherfucker better never go to WWE because they're gonna ruin him. Look what they did to Shinsuke Nakamura. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So I have this weird mixture of emotions of I don't want him to go to WWE because they're gonna ruin him. But if he is gonna go there and he's gonna show up at the Rumble, which I will be at, oh my God, I could be there when Kenny Omega debuts at WWE. So I don't know, man. Overall, I don't want him to go to WWE. But if he's got to go, I hope I'm there when it happens. That's all I'm trying to say.
Well, Paul, do you have any intake on this? Any at all?
I actually do. We never really got, that whole rematch between him and AJ Styles. That I would like to see.
Bullet Club is for life, except AJ Styles.
Club for life. I'd actually like to see him and Finn Balor actually go at it. Him and Dolph Ziggler, him and, Seth Rollins, considering that they, had their little exchange on Twitter. I think there are some great matches that I think can happen, if he goes to WWE. But I'm not on him going to AEW for the simple fact that what is there for him there?
I thought they were
aside from being the focal point of the company and the upstart of the beginning of the company, but to me it just doesn't seem like there's anything there for him because he faced Cody, he faced, he had the challenges with the Young Bucks, and even if they bring in, certain stars, from other promotions, he already faced Chris Jericho. I'm pretty sure if you can get him with a Pentagon Junior, if he decides, that he wants to sign with them. And I'm from a fan standpoint, since WWE is more of an exclusive, company to where their guys don't really go out to anywhere aside from NXT. They go to Progress and Evolve. But as far as being in the main event, as far as the main roster, he can have some great matches with a lot of good stars.
No, I can totally and completely agree. I don't want to get super into this subject because I actually do. We are going to do a whole show on this eventually. But the possibility of him going to WWE is something that intrigues me. Not only from the Zigglers and the Seths and AJ and maybe even Triple H if that's a possibility or something. You know what I mean? But it's the guys in NXT waiting to come up that also intrigues me. The guys like Cassius Ohno, if he ever comes up. Guys like Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, Matt Riddle, Velveteen Dream, Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano. Any one of those guys against Kenny could be absolutely and totally amazing in their own right.
Another name out there, I'll even throw EC3 out there.
EC3 probably could put on something of, that's really good. That's maybe not on par with, say, like a Gargano or a Ciampa or something like that, but still something definitely worth watching. No, I'm just saying
in general. I mean, he can have. You can just throw that out there and say, you can already know it's going to be a good match. And with them.
Yeah, no, it's and then the idea of AEW and Kenny Omega, they need Kenny Omega. Let's be honest here. Kenny Omega doesn't need AEW. AEW needs Kenny Omega. He has an opportunity to change the world, stay with his friends. That's what their plan has been. The Elite is not breaking up, but it looks like in a way that they may be. So, the idea is out there. It's something that is on everybody's mind. The Royal Rumble is but, 3-4 weeks, about 3 weeks away. So the possibility of him randomly showing up, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Not possible. I screwed that up because I forgot that Kenny Omega's New Japan contract does not end until January 21st. I mean, January 31st, excuse me, and the Rumble is like January 29th or something. It's a few days before, so he would still be under contract to New Japan, which means the earliest that you would see a Kenny Omega, just like when Matt and Jeff came out at WrestleMania, I think Kenny Omega would be a WrestleMania surprise if he signs with WWE. And it kind of lines up because, you know, in his statement about leaving, he mentioned like needing some time away from New Japan and pretty much everything. So if the contract ends on January 31st and then he just can take a solid 2 months off to kind of recuperate and get into a new mindset and then debut at WrestleMania, he got his time off and now he's starting fresh.
That's definitely one.
It is a
awesome
possibility,
idea.
and I'm with that too. I mean, if we all we know as far as right now, as AEW, they're making signings. You know, there are contracts that are going to be ending with New Japan, but New Japan is creating their own stars. You know, and Kenny Omega was a big part of that, and where it goes from here is, God only knows, where he's going to end up at. I mean, I think, part of me is like, okay, let him take AEW, start that. But on the other hand, I want him to go to, I guess I would like to see him go to WWE, even for a year or two, and then get the matches he wants to out of the way, win the championship, enjoy it. Okay, you're in your prime.
No, that's I think what a lot of people want. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna leave this topic nice and hot. We're gonna come back to it later, but we are gonna wrap it up. I do want to get a whole bunch of plugs out there, so I do want everybody to keep their eyes out for the YouTube version, the RWT YouTube version of episode 6 of the Gorilla Position. It is already up on the SoundCloud station, soundcloud.com/SmartMarkRadio. I will be posting sometime later on down this week my review of Wrestle Kingdom 13, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Emir, do we have anything going on the RWT group?
Nothing in particular to call out, and that's just because I don't really know what's going on the week that the show comes out. So no, and really just tune in to Smart Mark Radio. Go to that RWT YouTube channel and make sure you subscribe. And if you're not a part of the group, join it, because it's a lot of fun and we have a great time there. So make sure you check us out.
Absolutely. So again, that is RWT Wrestle Talk, if I'm not mistaken, on the Facebook page. Go ahead and give us a request. We do check out everybody first, and then we go through the process, bring you guys on. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel, RWT on YouTube, and then, of course, SoundCloud station, where you get all your Smart Mark Radio episodes and a whole bunch more. So I want to tell you guys, thank you. Always, this show is always crazy fun. Our new list needs to be thought of, and we'll get it together sooner rather than later. So, again, thank you guys for joining me. For my man Emir and my man Paul Morales, we say goodnight.
Peace.